We're back on Broadway at a phenomenal new musical called Little Mermaid the Musical, and if the word Disney's attached, it's normally very good. At the very least, it's going to have a brilliant cast and a brilliant set, and then the rest is really down to how the audience enjoy it. I saw it just the other week, and two people who really stood out was Norm Lewis. How are you?
I'm fine. Stood out. I love that.
Well, you did, and I'll talk to you about why you stood out in a moment. And Tituss Burgess, nice to talk to you.
Nice to talk to you as well.
I wish I had your name. That would make a really great DJ name.
Tituss, I think so too.
Hi, it's Tituss Burgess here, playing you the greatest. Do you know what I'm saying?
There's a nice ring to it. My mom knew what she was doing.
I think so. Very showbiz. Now, let's talk about The Little Mermaid. I mean, your role's crabby, isn't it?
To say the least. No pun intended. Absolutely.
And you're kind of the comedy role, and you kind of get us through it, through those boring moments, which there are in every musical. You really make us smile. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's your job.
That's my job. Right on. No, I appreciate that.
Tell me about the show itself and being in creation of it, because I can't imagine there's any more exciting time to be in a production, let alone a Disney production, right from the beginning where they're trying stuff out and then you eventually get on Broadway and it opens and then it's reviewed. What's that process like, Norm?
Well, it's been great for me because like I've been in several shows from the beginning and created roles and stuff, but they didn't last too long. And this show, you just know that the people love it and they want to see it, and they're clamoring to come to New York to see this show. So it's just been a great thing. Disney has got a formula that they follow, and whether you like it or not, it is something that works. So
I suppose the kids are going to love it because it's The Little Mermaid, but then again, kids who watched it when it was released are now in their 20s.
Mm-hmm. And when they come, you can tell, because they're so rowdy and they feel such ownership of it. And I would come if I were not in the show. And I just think it's kind of a all-inclusive kind of thing. Everyone feels this sort of attachment to it, no matter how old you are or young.
Did you enjoy the process of creating your crabby role?
I did, and I still do, because I don't feel it's done. I change things all the time. We all do. Mm-hmm. I mean, within the confines of the show, of course. But I find that during the process, the creative team was very open and very giving, very generous, and kind of let you go and do your thing, and then they will come back and sort of edit, and it just kind of naturally is born into this, what we see on stage every night.
What is interesting from my perspective, not knowing anything about anything, is that there are very few people who stick out in musical theatre generally. They're all the same height, they're all the same weight, they've all got blonde hair, they're all gorgeous, and they all sing brilliantly and dance fantastically. But that's not really what you need in this show. You need personalities, and that's probably why you two got the role. And a terrific voice. Congratulations on that.
Well, thank you. Yeah, and we have to give Francesca Zambello, some props because, and the other powers that be, as far as casting it multicultural. What she told us and what she told a lot of other people in interviews is that she wanted to create even this mystical world to look like the world that is really out here. So
you've probably got the biggest personality of anybody in the show because you've got to be the wackiest, the weirdest, the funniest.
Well, it's definitely like an emotional roller coaster because he starts out and he's all excited about doing his little concert, and then it just goes awry, and then from there just all mayhem just ensues, and he goes through this sort of selfless journey where he learns to, kind of take on I don't want to say father figure, but more of a uncle type figure towards Ariel later on, and is given a charge to keep by the king to look after his daughter, and that's the last thing he wants to do. So it's just he kind of have to find a way to mesh all those things together, and sometimes it doesn't work, and sometimes it does. I'm glad it worked the night you saw it.
Actually, it's funny because a lot of people were talking about how some stories of The Little Mermaid have become like sexist and misogynistic, and why does she want to pine for this guy and want to change her life? But in the beginning of the show, she's like, there's a new world that I want to discover. He just happens to be part of that, and she falls for this other creature other than her, but that still doesn't take away from her dreams, and that just adds to it.
It's almost seamless in this show, and you do forget after a while that she's actually walking around the stage. She looks like she's floating. It's quite clever.
They built this wonderful shoe for our show called, what do we call it, Merblades?
Yeah, we call them Merblades.
But it's based on the Heelys, these little shoes that you see the kids, some adults, rolling around town in and whizzing on by you. And it's basically there's a wheel attached to the heel, and you can dance in it and walk in and glide around, and it makes the movement seem very fluid and very underwater-like. And I think that was the best alternative to how to create the show versus wires and so, because that would have been a nightmare, and the tech process would have been, it just would not have been good, I don't think.
And too predictable for Disney as well.
A bit too predictable. I mean, this really actually requires the audience to do some work, and I feel like a lot of shows sort of are condescending to the audience and just shoves everything down their throat, and the audience just kind of sits back, and it's just like a little baby, it's just like, just feed me, spoon feed me. And it requires us to suspend some disbelief, and I think that requires the audience, rather, and the actors. And I think it allows people to kind of do a little more work on their part and go along on the journey a bit more full force than they would if they just kind of sat back and had everything undone and unveiled right in front of them.
I'm going to play a track now from the CD, Kiss the Girl, which is your big number. And one of the sweetest moments in the show, Disney always have one of these numbers, don't they?
Yeah, there's always that song that just kind of gets you. But it's so exciting because this is the moment where I feel like Sebastian just finally goes, okay, either this girl is going to die if she doesn't get this guy and kiss this guy and reverse this curse, or we're going to drive it home and I'm going to be the ringleader as it should be and help and be responsible for making all of this work out. Well, it doesn't quite work out, but it's a beautiful, honest attempt, and I think this is one of the most brilliant songs in the show, not because I'm singing it.
We're back with the cast of The Little Mermaid. That's Kiss the Girl. Tell me about what it is being in costume every night. Is it draining to kind of become these characters physically? Because Disney never give you an easy time, no matter what show you're in. There's always a load of kit that has to go with it.
Well, draining. I mean, as an actor, you go through a metamorphosis of being whoever that thing or person is. It is different because I'm playing a mystical creature, and I am trying to bring a humanity to him, so the audience can understand his plight. But yeah, it's no more difficult than playing another character.
There's something quite menacing but warm about your voice at the same time. Do you create that? Do you get taught that, or were you born with that?
Be honest.
I think I was born with it. Oh, thank you, Tituss. I appreciate it. My cheerleader.
I was ready to refute it. The truth is, he was born with it.
Well, with Les Mis, I know that Stephen Brooker, who was the musical supervisor for Les Mis, and also Kevin Stites, they made sure that I was very, what's the word? I can't think of it right now, but I said every T and every D and dotted every I in that so I could be understood on stage, and because their songs are so quick. I think that enhanced what I have naturally, and being a king kind of gives you this grandiose style that you have to kind of bring out. But I guess my voice is just that natural thing, and hopefully they both work with each other.
This is probably my stupidest question of the interview, but how do the two compare? Because Les Mis, I would imagine, is one of the hardest gigs in show business because it's quite long, it's quite deep, it's quite dark, and the numbers are all massive. I love the show, having said that. Little Mermaid ain't Les Mis.
No.
But equally, it has its challenges. Which is best? Which do you prefer?
Well, I mean, Les Mis is completely sung through, so it's an opera, as opposed to this being able to do scene work and then singing a song. I actually kind of thought about this the other day. I spend as much time on stage as Javert, which is not that much when you put all the numbers together, the minutes together, but people talk about you throughout the entire show, so it seems like you're there. Yeah.
What a great gig that is. And Tituss, as for you, I think you were in probably my favourite musical ever, Children of Eden, and you were in my least favourite show in the world ever, which I lasted about 40 seconds, Good Vibrations, which was the Beach Boys musical, which was hideous as far as I'm concerned. It didn't last very long.
So much, but it's...
But what I'm saying is, you were such a great talent, they should never have insulted you by asking you to be in that show.
Thank you.
It was horrible. You got to admit it.
I know. That was very poetic. You know what? I have to say I own every bit of it, and I am very grateful for that opportunity because had it not been for that show, I would never. That was my debut, and in fact, Francesca and Tom came to see me in that 3 years ago, and called me in to come and audition for Little Mermaid, which I tanked when I did. But they kind of got a second wind, I suppose, and had me come back in again. So you know what? All things work together for good. Ultimately, I do believe that, and so there has to be some bombs to make the winners look even, more majestic. So there you go.
Even like shows as brilliant as Into the Woods, before it came to New York, I had friends that saw it and said it was the worst thing that they've ever seen. And then when it got to New York, it was like, oh my God. It was, so you kind of, as an actor, you're kind of blessed with getting work, for one, but for two, you try to make it as amazing as possible.
You do what you can.
And Tituss is just amazing, no matter what he can do.
The Beach Boys musical just didn't work. It didn't feel right. It didn't have the sense of a proper show. There was something not quite right. Do you know that as an actor very early on, and then your heart sinks?
The first reading unit. You are funny, man.
But you still took the check.
Of course I still took the check. You know what it is? Here are the differences. The book. No matter what anyone says, it is all about the book. If you got music that stands on its own, write a damn good book, and then you have a winner. And when I participated in one of the readings, I noticed some things that needed to change, and I didn't know if they would change or not. But then it becomes my job as an actor to sort of sew together air, and do the best you can and like save face, and try and represent yourself. Because sometimes it truly is a double-edged sword. You get a show that is not so great, but you got a show. And so therefore I had my first New York credit, and then there's material that may not be the best, but that's your opportunity as an artist, as an actor, as a singer, to say, okay, I'm gonna make this work. I'm gonna figure this out. And some people are successful at it, and some people are not. I welcomed those challenges. I no longer want those challenges because I know from both ends what it's like now,
To be fair, and I apologise for my review of that show, because, to be fair, I did see the show at a disadvantage because the curtain was up and the lights were on. It was a terrible disadvantage. And also the speakers were on as well, which was also unfortunate. However, no, stop laughing. However, you were in Children of Eden, which I think is just a spectacular show. Incredible.
I did, there was a regional production that I did, and I played Father. Which, and a lot of people were like,
"Oh, you did?"
I did.
Wow.
It was amazing. Norm did it here at a concert version of it.
To hear that.
It was so fun. I think it's a gorgeous show, and they made Father be as young as the children because he's ageless, and they thought, well, why not do a different take on this? So I loved doing it.
Your eyes seem to reach the back of the audience. I don't think you can betrain that, and that's why you've got this role. They had to find somebody good enough to do it, because in the cartoon, it's the big star of the show, almost bigger than Ariel in a way.
Well, in the cartoon, perhaps. I don't know. I think it depends on which perspective you're looking at it from.
I'm just backtracking to make you feel better after the insult.
No. There were no insults. I told you I own all of it. I all the good and the bad of Good Vibrations is all good as far as I'm concerned. So there you go.
I just didn't get any good vibrations from
stop
it. That's the problem. All right, okay, let's move on. Norm, thank you very much for talking to me. I'll let you get back to your dinner because we're actually talking in between two shows, and I'm stopping you living your life. I'm sorry about that.
No, you're fine. It's fine. It's fun. I didn't realize you were going to be this much fun.
Norm doesn't have a life.
I don't have a life. I don't have a life, basically.
Welcome to my life. I'm sorry, talking to you two. What does that say about me?
Wow, we need to go to England.
I think we need to go to England.
We need to go to England.
They didn't brief us on your sense of humor. My goodness.
Oh, Lord.
I want to go see a show with you. That's what I want to do. I want to sit and
How long are you in town?
Oh, I'm leaving tomorrow. Enough of me already.
Damn it. Darn it. Yeah. Sorry.
No, you can say that on British radio. Guys, thank you very much for talking to me. Norm, pleasure meeting you.
Likewise.
And Tituss, thank you for being you.
Thank you, buddy.
You're unique and brilliant, and you deserve greatness, both of you. Thanks for talking to me.
Thank you.